The salty breeze carried the scent of the ocean, weaving through the narrow streets of Seabrook, a quiet coastal town where time moved like the tide, slow and relentless. Elena walked barefoot along the shoreline, the cool sand pressing against her feet as the waves kissed the shore in a steady rhythm. She had spent every summer here as a child, chasing seagulls and collecting seashells. But now, the beach felt different, emptier, as if the past had been washed away with the tide. It had been 5 years since she last set foot in Seabrook. 5 years since she had said goodbye to Damien. She told herself she wasn't coming back for him, that this was just a short visit to clear her mind. But standing here, with the wind tangling in her hair and the water reflecting the dying light of the sun, she couldn't pretend she wasn't thinking about him. Elena. The sound of his voice sent a shiver down her spine. She turned, her breath catching in her throat. Damien stood a few feet away, looking both exactly the same and completely different. The boy she had known was gone. In his place stood a man, his once unruly hair now slightly shorter, his features sharper, more defined. But his eyes, those stormy gray eyes, still held the same intensity, the same depth that had once made her fall in love. "You're back," he said, his voice a mixture of surprise and something she couldn't quite place. She swallowed hard. "I didn't think I'd see you." He let out a breath, a half-smile playing at his lips. "Neither did I." The wind howled between them, filling the silence with unspoken words. Elena wanted to be angry, wanted to demand why he never wrote, never called. But as she looked at him, standing against the backdrop of the endless sea, all she could feel was the weight of everything they never got to say. "Why did you leave?" she whispered. Damien's jaw tightened. "Because I thought it was what you needed." A bitter laugh escaped her lips. "You decided that for me?" He ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident in his stance. "I was trying to protect you, Elena. I wasn't good enough for you." She took a step closer, her voice firm despite the storm brewing in her chest. "That wasn't your decision to make." His gaze met hers, raw and unguarded. "I know." The waves crashed against the shore, a reminder that time, like the ocean, never stops moving. Neither of them spoke for a moment. Finally, Damien exhaled. "Are you staying long?" Elena hesitated. "I don't know." His lips pressed into a thin line. "Then let me show you that I never stopped caring." Her heart ached at his words. She wanted to trust him. But could she? The ocean whispered its answer. The ocean was restless that night, waves crashing against the shore as if echoing the storm inside Elena's heart. She lay in bed, staring at the wooden ceiling of her family's beach house, the salty breeze drifting through the open window. She should have been sleeping. Instead, she was replaying the look in Damien's eyes, the regret, the longing, the silent plea for something she wasn't sure she could give. She told herself she wouldn't see him again. But the next morning, as the sun rose in soft pastels over the horizon, she found herself walking back to the beach. And he was there. Damien stood by the docks, hands buried deep in his jacket pockets, watching the water as if searching for something lost beneath the waves. She hesitated, debating whether to turn around, but he had already seen her. "Elena." His voice carried across the wind, familiar yet different. She approached slowly, keeping a careful distance. "I didn't think you'd still be here." His lips curved into a small, almost hesitant smile. "I live here, remember?" Her chest tightened at the reminder. This town had always been his home. She had been the one to leave. They stood in silence for a moment, the sound of the waves filling the space between them. "Can we talk?" Damien asked. Elena let out a slow breath. "About what?" His gaze met hers, steady. "About us." There it was, the word she had spent years avoiding. "There is no us anymore, Damien," she said, folding her arms across her chest. "You made sure of that." He flinched, but didn't look away. "I know I hurt you. I need you to understand why." She arched a brow. "You mean why you left without a word? Why you vanished like none of it mattered?" "It mattered," he said, his voice raw. "It mattered more than anything." Then why? She asked, her voice breaking despite herself. Damien exhaled, rubbing a hand over his face before finally speaking. Because I was afraid. Afraid of holding you back, of becoming the reason you didn't chase your dreams. Elena shook her head, a bitter laugh escaping her lips. You didn't give me the chance to decide that for myself. I know, he admitted, and I've regretted it every single day. She swallowed hard, looking out at the ocean, the waves crashing relentlessly against the shore, just like the emotions she had tried so hard to bury. I don't know if I can forgive you, she whispered. Damien took a step closer, his voice softer. I'm not asking for that. I just need you to know. I never stopped loving you. Her heart clenched at his words, but she said nothing. Because she didn't know what scared her more, that he had come back. Or that a part of her still wanted to believe him. Elena told herself she wouldn't see him again. But Seabrook was a small town, and fate had other plans. They ran into each other at the old bookstore by the harbor, where she was browsing through worn poetry books when a familiar voice interrupted her thoughts. You still love those old classics. She turned to find Damien leaning against a bookshelf, his expression unreadable. Elena huffed, tucking the book under her arm. Some things don't change. A small smile tugged at his lips. No, they don't. She sighed, reluctant but curious. What are you doing here? I work at the marina now, he said, watching her carefully. And you? I needed a break from the city, she admitted, running her fingers over the book's frayed edges. He hesitated before speaking again. Have dinner with me. She blinked, caught off guard. Excuse me? Just one dinner, he said quickly. No expectations. No pressure. Just, let me remind you why this place used to feel like home. Elena knew she should say no. But against her better judgment, she heard herself say, one dinner. The restaurant was small, nestled near the cliffs where the ocean stretched endlessly into the horizon. The scent of salt and grilled seafood filled the air, blending with the quiet hum of conversation. Damien sat across from her, his fingers idly tracing the rim of his glass, looking both nervous and hopeful. I didn't think you'd come, he admitted. Elena shrugged. Neither did I. They talked, hesitant at first, but soon the conversation flowed, winding through memories of childhood summers and late-night bonfires on the beach. For the first time in years, she found herself laughing. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. As the night deepened, the air between them shifted, heavier, filled with things neither of them dared to say. Finally, Damien broke the silence. I know I can't undo the past, but if there's any part of you that still cares, even a little, let me prove that I won't run again. Elena looked at him, her heart a storm of emotions. She could walk away. She could leave the past buried where it belonged. Or she could take the risk. Her fingers brushed against his on the table, just a whisper of a touch, but enough. Don't make me regret this, she said softly. A slow smile spread across Damien's face. I won't. The waves crashed outside, steady and unwavering, whispering promises only time could keep. And for the first time in a long while, Elena let herself believe in second chances.